Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Startup Garage Podcast, your source for all things startups. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Woody Sears on the line. He's founder and CEO over at HearHere. Woody, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
All right, so excited to get today's topic. So we're going to talk about your company, HearHere, and where you're at with it and your plans for the future. But before we get into that, just to give the audience a little bit more of a feel for your background, how did you get started in business and as an entrepreneur?
Oh, well, starting as an entrepreneur, I'd have to go all the way back to the time I was 11 years old and had my first paper route and had to collect money from the subscribers and manage my own business there, and that was kind of my entry that quickly evolved into washing neighbors' cars. And then by the time I got to junior high, I was using my lunch money to buy candy at the grocery store on the way to school, and then reselling it based on supply and demand in the school hallways, which had some nice margins on it. But in terms of business, I started my career in mobile and software and doing sales. So that was almost like managing my own business at Singular Wireless and AT&T within inside a larger enterprise, managing a territory. And it felt very entrepreneurial, but I'd always wanted my own company. So while I was there, I did my MBA and got in with an emphasis in entrepreneurship and started my first company in 2009, and it was just after the App Store opened up to third-party developers, and I had my oldest kid at the time was 3 years old, and the iPhone had recently come out, and he was like a moth to the screen, and we didn't, the only things for children at the time were video games and movies, and we wanted to give them something we felt better about as parents. So we made the first library of kids narrated storybooks. We started with independent authors, quickly got the attention of some major TV and film animation studios, and did our first licensing deal with DreamWorks, and went on to do over 14 million downloads and have a exit there. So that was round one of the ventures, and really where we used the mobile background, software background, and this idea of storytelling and audio. So now this brings us to present day, and I want to get into HearHere and what you're doing with this company. And I'm glad you gave the background. I love that you're a paper route guy. I'm so jealous. If I have one thing that I could go back over and do in my life, I would have did a paper route, because now, let me get on my soapbox, Woody. These kids nowadays know nothing. They don't even have a paper route, so everybody's mad at me. There you go. But I'm like, man, I want to start a business, and it's just going to be the paper route experience, and that's it. Like, there's not going to be no back end, and kids are going to pay me parents to have their kids do a virtual paper route. There you go, it's done. No, joking. Maybe you can do that with magazines. There's some of those publications, a larger format, are making a comeback, but there'll be some kind of novelty with print, but I don't know if it's on a daily basis.
Love it. So let's enough of my tangent, Woody. Sorry about that. Let's get into HearHere. So now first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, so the company, we do location-based audio stories for road trips. That's about as simply as I can distill down what we deliver for our customers. And really the idea came about when I was introduced to Bill Werlin, former president and CEO of the North Face, had spent most of his career in the outdoor industry, working for large multinational businesses. And very early in his life, he used to take a lot of road trips with his grandfather in Colorado. And his grandfather was just a fountain of knowledge for geology and history. And this idea that he had was essentially a trifold brochure. So we're back to the paper again, where it would have list mile markers and then important pieces of history or information that you could reference as you're driving. So he had told me about this idea a couple of years back, and I immediately gravitated to it, and we evolved it into the smartphone age. So how could we deliver this experience of hearing the stories and the scenery and the history of the landscape outside your car window as you drive? And, there's many reasons we do that. One is there's a lot of history that we were told in one way and it wasn't always the full story. Some of these stories haven't been told before. Others are getting lost. So we really we feel it's an opportunity to preserve history, especially oral history that's been with humans since the beginning of our time, as a way to pass information and learn from it and, have more tolerance in our society. So we believe there's a lot of good that can come out of this and, makes use of this time that we're spending on a road that's a lot of times, fairly idle. There's lots of entertainment choices out there, but none that are contextual and actually can use the landscape as the natural backdrop for these stories. So that's what we give the experiences in a mobile app. You set up different categories that are of most interest to you, whether that be history, music, sports, local insights, colorful characters, and then we tell you these stories as soon as you come into GPS range of them.
Wow, that is really cool. What a great concept. So how far along are you with the company? So tell us a little bit more about the product, the launch, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's been a wild month. We just launched on August 5th, and
congratulations, by the way. This is August 5th, 2020, so that's awesome, and we're recording this show on August, 18th, 2020, so awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. So our initial coverage area is in the West Coast, California, Washington, Oregon. We have 1,500 geolocated stories there. The primary category is history. That makes up about half of our content. And we have professional narrators and colorful characters telling you stories and even have celebrities on a few of them. And actually, I want to take back celebrities. We have influential storytellers, which is an important distinction for us. But so people like one of our co-founders, Kevin Costner of Hollywood, is one of our not only co-founder but a narrator on a couple of our stories in there. And how that came about is after Bill and I started working on this project and built the alpha, we were showing around to people, getting feedback. One of the people I showed it to was Christine Costner, Kevin's wife, and she immediately latched onto it and loved the concept, wanted to get it in front of Kevin, and had a half-hour meeting scheduled with him, and that meeting ended up going for 4 hours, and really we just saw eye to eye on what we were bringing to people, and this idea of preserving our past and telling those stories. And he's very passionate about history. especially so for indigenous cultures and the First Peoples. And so that's really one of our commitments of HearHere is telling, always starting at the beginning and telling the stories of First People of an area. So that's another component you'll find in our app.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's I think it's awesome, and I think that the concept as you're talking, I'm just kind of imagining like my next road trip. I'm like, this is really cool, especially if you're going, like, if you like to drive near other places, or even if you're just want to explore maybe some areas that you're already in on the West Coast or otherwise, West Coast right now, that you want to see the historical significance. So like, I wasn't born on the West Coast. I just live here now. I'm in LA, but I was born in Michigan. So I'm like, man, that'd be cool if I have the app. I can, when I'm driving or doing some other things, I can see and explore a place that I've been at many, many years but don't know the history of. I think it's a really awesome idea, and I think it's great the way you're executing it and the heart behind it. So are you currently, tell us a little bit more. Again, this is a startup podcast, so there's people listening from all different spectrums and concerns in terms of startups. So are you currently raising money, or like tell us about the money side of things?
Yeah, so we did a friends and family round, and then we're midway through our pre-seed round with raising with strategic angel investors, and so that will get us through the rest of the United States. So we'll be connecting those state lines between here and your home state of Michigan and all the way to the East Coast. We did an accelerator towards the end of last year, and we're actually in YC Startup School right now, which I would highly recommend for other entrepreneurs out there. It's just really relevant and up-to-date information about how, building a product, getting feedback, going to market, handling press and launch activities, and focusing on the right metrics. So, in addition, even having gone through an MBA program, lots changed in 10 years, and I think it's a really valuable program, as well as Startup Garage has a lot of great resources too. So I would take advantage of all those tools that are out there for the modern entrepreneur.
Fantastic. Well, Woody, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on HearHere and to connect with you and your team, and to download the app, all that good stuff, what's the best way for them to do that and to get more info?
Yeah, they can go to HearHere.com, HearHere.com. You can find us on all the social channels. Our handle is HearHere.com, spelled out, DOTCOM. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're there, and we've had some really favorable press since we launched 2 weeks ago. So there's an article in Forbes about the audio market and things accelerating there. I had the fortune of being in Sunset Magazine, Lonely Planet. So hopefully we're getting more and more searchable by the day.
Fantastic. Well, Woody, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all the great work you're doing over at HearHere. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review in the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Startup Garage, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Woody, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.